Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, great Millstone, who teach him real well. And Shalom to the sincere Akim, finished truth and sincerity. Shalom. This video I want to talk about the pale horse in the book of Revelation, which is also the last horse concerning Revelation chapter 6. So I want to start off in Revelation chapter 6 verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And the horse that it's talking about, and the rider that sat upon him, is basically a spirit that the Most High is going to bring upon this earth. As it reads in Sirach chapter 39, verse 28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made him. So the things talking about Revelation chapter 6, concerning to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the earth, with the beasts of the earth, is basically in a time of destruction. Verse 29, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So basically it's going to be payback, in the time to come, because right now we're experiencing, a few things that were also written about in scriptures, but it will be even worse than that, which we will also go through, during this lesson. Verse 30, teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. All these things, the fire, the hail, the famine, death, teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, these are going to basically, punish the wicked people, both of, the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, the circle of weapmons upon this earth. Among our people we have wicked people too, and the other nations are going to be punished as well, Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word, because, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come to pass, And it reads in Matthew chapter 24, verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? So the disciples asked Yahawashi, what's going to be the sign of, the coming of Yahawashi, and of the end of the world, which is basically the end of a certain age, certain period rulership. Verse 4, and Yahawashi answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. The things that, I spoke about in verse 6 and 7, we are experiencing those things right now upon this earth. But it reads in verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows, which means it will get much worse than these things that are written about in Matthew chapter 24, verse 6 and 7. Because Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 reads, alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Because there will be a time where destruction will be so great upon this earth that no other time period upon this earth can be compared to Jacob's trouble. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1 reads, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which tended for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So this is talking about Jacob's trouble, you know. And Michael shall stand up for, the people of the Most High, which are the Israelites, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but also those scattered among the heathen nations, who might look like the heathen nations, but whose lineage actually does go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, through their father's seed line, And it reads that there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And we could read the same thing in Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7, because that's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble, in which everything shall be done away with. The comfort that we have right now, every comfort that we have right now shall be taken away from us, There's no, we can go to bed, wake up, stretch our arms, what I'm going to do today, get a nice cup of coffee and things like that. No, man. It's going to be a time of chaos, destruction, famine, pestilences, wars, But it also says in Daniel chapter 12 verse 1, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which tended for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So this is talking about the elect, the 144,000, and the 1/3, of the nation of Israel. They shall be delivered in the time to come. So it reads in 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 14, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Verse 16, "For there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another. They shall not regard their kings and their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." We are experiencing those things right now on a very minor level with the COVID-19, with the coronavirus. We are experiencing those things right now. People invading one another, trying to get food and things like that, Verse 17, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." This is talking about martial law, This is also on a very small level taking place right now, but it will eventually come to pass that we won't be able to go anywhere, because the cities will be on complete lockdown, Verse 18, "For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation." So there will come a time in which people are going to invade one another, kill each other, break into each other's houses, and try to find some food, Because the famine is coming, people. The famine is coming. 2nd Esdras chapter 16 verse 18, "The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come?" These things are coming, It's talking about that as well in, Revelation chapter 6 verse 8, "And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." Verse 19, "Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment." Because the Most High wants to get back, He wants to get back, with this world for the things that they have done, in the sight of His eyes, because they have committed wickedness and nothing but wickedness. Verse 20, "But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, Nobody always mindful of the scourges. So even though these things come upon the earth, they won't think a second time like, the way we live, the way we do things, it needs to change. No, they shall continue doing their wickedness. Verse 21, behold, the victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Even when there's going to be, a period of time wherein food could be very cheap, or well, it's going to be very cheap, and people think that they're going to be in a good case. Like, yeah, man, with my money, I can buy this food, can do that, But even though those things happen, the evil shall grow upon earth, the sword, famine, and great confusion, Destruction will take place, even when those things happen upon this earth. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there are going to be people upon this earth, who will die by the famine, with lack of bread. And even if you are not going to die by, famine and lack of bread, the Most High is going to get you with the sword, man. He's going to make sure that you're going to be killed with a weapon, Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down, There shall be a lot of people dying, which is basically people going to be tossed on the streets, Verse 24, there shall be no man left to till earth and to sow it. The tree shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate for men. People are going to die, so there won't be people to do these things, There's no man that's going to till the earth. There's no man that's going to pluck fruit. There's no man that's going to make wine. Verse 27, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, in the clefts of the rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search the houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughter shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So, wars are coming upon this earth, famines are coming upon this earth, pestilences are coming upon this earth. All these things that are created to basically, as it says in Sirach chapter 39, verse 28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth. When need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his words. So that's what it means when we read Revelation chapter 6 verse 8. And I looked and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. That's going to be the time of destruction, in which the Most High is going to basically, pour out his fury upon this earth, So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, great Millstone, who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akiams, burnish truth and sincerity. Shalom.